Hi, and welcome to Fun with Filters with Slippery Pete. I'm Slippery Pete, and today we will learn how to change the filters in this Ultima RO system. Our first step is we wish to turn the water off. We will turn the water supply off. Then we will go to the storage tank. We will turn that off. Then we will release any pressure that is in the water system by opening the RO spigot. There, I have released the pressure. Your RO spigot will likely look more like this, but again, open and allow the built-up pressure to exit the system before changing the filters. Next, we will need an RO filter wrench. If you do not have an RO filter wrench, you can also purchase a strap wrench, which is locally available. Once the pressure has been relieved, I will take my RO wrench and I will start with the sediment filter housing, which is on the left-hand side of the RO. I will engage the wrench with the housing and turn it counterclockwise. Here I have removed the sediment filter housing from the reverse osmosis. Now I shall remove the sediment filter and dump any water from the sump. Next, we will take the O-ring, which sits in the sump, and we will pull it out. And we will apply a small amount of silicone grease to the O-ring. This can be obtained locally at any hardware store, and oftentimes is called plumber's grease. I apply that to the O-ring and put it back into the sump, being sure that it is all the way down. Next, I shall take a new sediment filter. This is a 5-micron sediment filter. Open it up and drop it into the sump. I then reinstall the sump onto the RO. I tighten it until it stops and then give it a firm, snug, counterclockwise tightening motion. Next, we will change the carbon filter in the reverse osmosis system. Again, I'm taking my filter wrench, engaging it on the housing, and I push counterclockwise. Here you see I am removing the carbon filter. I have removed the sump with the carbon filter, which I will now take out, dumping the water into the sink. It's worthwhile to take a moment that the carbon block filter has a pair, that's 2, of gaskets on it. One top, one bottom. You want to be sure that you have accounted for both of these gaskets and that there is not a gasket on the bottom of the sump or stuck to the top of the RO. Again, I remove the O-ring, being careful not to damage it. And I apply a small amount of plumber's grease, which is silicone grease. And spread that across the O-ring. and carefully reinstall the O-ring into the sump, making sure that it is correctly positioned. Next, we'll take a brand new carbon block filter, remove it from the packaging, check that there are 2 gaskets, drop it into the housing, and we reinstall the housing. You'll tighten that lightly until it stops, then just give it a little bit of a turn clockwise to secure it. Next, we need to change the CL10 filter. This is oftentimes called a polishing filter. We'll pull it free of the clips. Next, we will unthread the faucet end. This system has a swivel at this side, so I can hold the fitting and rotate the CL10 filter away. There, I have taken it free. Next, we'll need a small wrench. Holding on to the fitting at the opposite end of the CL10, we will unthread the CL10 from the second fitting. Now then, note on the filter, there is a flow indicated on the filter. The easiest way to remember is that the large end has the incoming water, the smooth end has the outgoing water. We'll take our new CL10. We will remove the plastic plugs from either end. On this filter, you can notice they have a flow indicated, and again, the ridged side is your incoming water, the smooth side is the outgoing water. Next, we will need some Teflon tape. We'll take the Teflon tape and apply it to the fitting we have removed from the CL10. We will wrap several wraps of Teflon tape around the fitting. You'll want to do that away from you. You'll be winding the tape onto the fitting in a clockwise motion. Next, we take our CL10 and we thread it carefully into our prepared fitting. Once it starts, we take our wrench, hold it, and thread the fitting completely into the filter. Our other fitting, which is going to go to the spigot, also needs Teflon tape. I typically will remove any old Teflon tape. We take our new Teflon tape, apply it to the thread, and again, in a clockwise motion, let's put 2, 3, possibly 4 wraps of tape around the fitting. As you can see there. We now take the fitting and we thread it into the CL10, turning the CL10 into our faucet line fitting. Our filters are now changed. But wait, we are not done. Next, we need to open our RO spigot, which may look like this, and then we will open our storage tank. When I open the storage tank, the water which is held in it will discharge through this line and to the CL10. The CL10 is a carbon filter. It is not unusual to see some black carbon dust come off the filter initially. I am now turning the holding tank on. As you can see, I had a small shot of black water come out of the carbon filter, which is to be anticipated. I will continue to let this run. Most of the air has worked its way out. We will now shut it off, and we will turn the municipal water supply to the RO back on. At this time, we will take a moment to examine the system for possible leaks. It looks good. What we will do now is we will completely empty our storage tank so we can check the air pressure. We shall do this by opening our RO spigot, which may look very much like this, and allowing it to drain until the water begins to slow down and eventually shut off. The small drip you see here is what we refer to as the makeup rate. This is exactly how quickly the RO membrane actually makes your purified water, and is also the reason that we must have a storage tank. Next, we need to check the pressure of our storage tank. On the storage tank, you will find a Schrader valve, much like you would on your car tire. With the tank completely empty, as I have emptied it just moments ago, I will take and check the pressure. What we want is 8 psi with the tank completely empty. You may ask, what if the tank is not completely empty? Well, that is simple. Take a bicycle pump, a tire pump, a hand pump, perhaps similar to this one here, and you will add air to the storage tank, forcing the water trapped in the tank out the RO spigot. Once the tank is completely empty, you will set it to 8 psi using a low pressure gauge and a low pressure bicycle hand pump. Now your system has been serviced. Your storage tank has 8 psi of air in it, empty. Your filters have been changed along with the CL10. Make sure that your storage tank is turned back on. Be sure that your municipal supply is turned on, and allow the system to refill itself. This will take approximately 3 hours. After you have changed the filters, it is not uncommon that the water will come out looking slightly cloudy. These are tiny air bubbles that have trapped in the various filters that we have just changed. This will not hurt you, does not affect the quality of the water, and will resolve itself within 24 hours. If you find it very objectionable, you can open your RO spigot, allow it to drain a second time once it is refilled, and let it refill. This will expedite the project. This has been changing filters with Slippery Pete on a generic Ultima 6 reverse osmosis system. Thank you for watching today, and I hope your filter change goes smoothly.